Welcome to the season finale of season one of the Lhuillier show. We're going to do a couple topics from my moderator wall, so stay tuned.
Everywhere, everywhere, everywhere I go, everywhere that I've been, the only thing I see is beautiful people, beautiful people, beautiful people, beautiful people. Don't you know? Don't you know? Beautiful, don't you know? Don't you
Hi, YouTube. It's Christian, and welcome to the Lhuillier show. Um, for this season finale, I have decided to cover a couple of topics from my wall. Um, the moderator is on my YouTube channel page, so if you have any suggestions that you would like for me to talk about, um, you can submit those there. All right. The first question is coming from Encouraged. Um, his question was, how has dating changed for me since becoming HIV positive? Well, um, that's a big concern for a lot of people who have just become positive. One of the biggest things is no one's ever going to want me again or anything like that, and generally that's not the case. I'm going to stray away from shade in this particular video, but I will say that for me, dating has not been all that different. I haven't encountered some guys who are not comfortable with it, and I'm perfectly okay with that. Um, as you can tell, as I'm talking about it on YouTube, um, I'm very comfortable with my status. That's something that I do share with guys very early on in a relationship. I'll reserve it usually for maybe the second date if you don't already know. Um, or if they don't recognize me from YouTube. I usually wait till the second date only because telling someone that on a first date can be really, really heavy and jarring. And you generally want to kind of ease that onto someone. Now, a lot of positive people have given us a bad reputation by pretty much dating someone for months and months and months and not telling them that they're positive. Personally, I like to give a guy the decision to decide whether or not he would like to continue with a relationship very early on. That way, it's not as painful or painful at all for both parties because I when I first found out that I was positive, I did go into a dating situation and I let it go on for a while before I actually told him that I was positive, and it was weird. It was like I think he kind of stayed around because he didn't want to hurt my feelings, but at the same time, you could tell that the dynamic had changed. So for people who are dating and you are positive, just my personal suggestion is that you go ahead and let that information be known very early on because again, it does make it easier. Nobody wants to completely fall in love with someone and then pretty much have them kick you to the curb because they're not comfortable with your status. Honesty is always the best policy. um, for those of you that are positive, please do not sleep with guys without telling them that you're positive, whether you do it with protection or not. It is an extreme violation of trust and it usually causes a really, really big ruckus. Like, it's usually ugly because they will generally feel like you lied to them and that you endangered their life or whatever, which is usually not the case, but there are those who do that. So, for everyone, know your status, get tested regularly. If you are negative, stay negative. And if you are positive, don't freak out because it is not a death sentence or anything like that. There are plenty of treatment options that a doctor can tailor to your situation. And while I'm talking about this, I do want to tell my positive view for those of you who are positive and you are in care. If you are on a med that is not really working for your body, it's giving you a lot of extra side effects, which is generally rare. Most people don't have side effects when they're on a regimen that works for them. But if you do, make sure you share that information with your doctor, because a good doctor will always work with you um, in finding a regimen that fits your lifestyle and that works with your body. Nobody wants to take meds and be feeling crappy all the time. So that's the end of my public service announcement. And thank you, Encourage, for that question. And next topic. Okay, the next question comes from Prince Mama out of St. Louis, Missouri. I hope I said that right. And he asked um, me to talk about the fact that other gay boys are jealous of one another, like myself, because I'm trying to do something besides being on the scene and going to balls and voguing all day. All right. Everybody who has been in any way involved with the gay scene and the ballroom scene knows that it is generally, or I won't say that it is, but it can be a very shady environment. Um, when I was younger, I was probably about 18, I did find myself involved with a house and I was fellowshipping with them in the hopes of actually joining. I won't say what house that was. But as I hung out with them, a lot of them were really cool and some of us remained friends, but the shade was unbearable. And some of the things that I say can sound a little conceited, but it's really not. I've always been told that I was very, very pretty. And I've always been told that I had an uncanny runway ability. It actually comes quite natural. Um, but in dealing with these people, there was a great deal of shade. Someone was always talking behind your back, and there was always a problem and stuff like this. And I actually found myself fighting these individuals, or one of these individuals, one morning after I had just had enough. Violence isn't really my thing. So that was a real big turnoff for me. As for just gay boys in general, a lot of them can be very, very jealous people. Everyone is not blessed with the same characteristics. Some people are not as cute as others. Some people don't vogue as well as others and things like that. And you do encounter those individuals who hate you because you're beautiful. Thank you, Carrie Hilson. But they're just generally shady people. Like, oh, that bitch this and oh, that bitch that. I did have a situation when I lived in Charlotte with a particular young man who my first love had cheated on me with back in 2006. And this particular boy called my phone and told me that he was going to do this and that, and he was going to slash me across my face and all of this stuff like that. And I'm steady telling him, well, sweetie, my address is blah, 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 blah. Please meet me on my front steps. Now, all the while, this child actually did not know who I was. He didn't know what I looked like. He just knew my name. So, late one night down in downtown Charlotte on North Tryon Street, I believe we had just left. No, we were on our way to a club, and I was with one of my friends who introduced me to this particular group of shady individuals. I won't name names, but I introduced myself and I was like, hello, nice to meet you. My name is, my nickname in Charlotte actually at the time, well, actually, period, is Japan. So I was like, I'm Japan or whatever. And he was like, oh, you're Japan. And I said, oh, and you're blank, 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 who slept with my boyfriend in 2006. At this time, I was completely over the situation and really couldn't care any less. So shade was exchanged and thrown, and I called it quits because I don't deal with faggotry and drama. Like, drama is just not something I get along with, I hang around with, because I don't like to talk a lot. I would rather beat your ass before we keep going back and forth and et cetera, et cetera. But over the course of maybe the next 6 months to a year, every time I saw this child, he was just popping off at the mouth in the club. Oh, there goes that bitch. Oh, blah, blah, blah. This faggot. Blah, blah, blah. Sweetie, you hate me because My boyfriend at the time wouldn't leave me for you. I've never said anything about you, so there's not really too many things about me that you could hate on because you don't know me. So obviously you hate me because I'm pretty. You hate me because I am not a random ass faggot who does nothing with my time. Um, you hate me because I have a nice car, because I had a good job at the time, and these are your reasons for disliking me. So, one night in this club in Charlotte, there was an incident. He called himself coming up behind me and punching me in the back of my neck. Who does that? A brawl ensued and spilled over into the lobby where the front window of the club was shattered as I struggled with security, and there was a high-speed chase, and there was people trying to break bats with windows. And later that night, my close friends had pulled out bats, machetes, and handguns and were ready to go to war, all because of you not liking me because I don't know. And I continuously tried to figure out, why don't you like me? I actually asked him one time. I was like, what the fuck is your problem? Like, you make yourself look like a messy faggot in front of all of these people, and you think it's cute that you're talking about everyone. Meanwhile, everyone hates you and would like to beat your ass. And if you don't shut the fuck up, you're going to end up in the county morgue. But you're doing all of this. And now after this whole incident with me breaking this window in the club, I was so embarrassed because I don't behave like that in public. I don't behave like that, period. I have to really be pushed to the brink of my sanity to lose control like that. I had lost control so bad I had to ask one of my friends to drive my car home because I was shaking with anger. Um it was a big mess. I didn't go out for probably about 6 months. I didn't go out until my birthday weekend, and I actually thought that the club was going to press charges with the broken window and et cetera, et cetera. But it was actually okay, and everything went back to normal. Shortly after that incident, I did move up here to Chicago, and I returned home for a visit, maybe about 3 months after I moved up here. And as soon as I walked in the club, this same faggot was like, and I need to stop using that word because that's not really a word that we condone, but there's some people who just fit that stereotype. But he was like, oh, there goes that bitch. Didn't she move to Chicago? So I paid it and I kept walking or whatever because, again, I don't like foolishness. So I come around the corner again. He's like, oh, there goes that bitch again. I said, well, here I am, sweetie. Do something. I don't live here anymore. I will freely kick your ass again and get on a plane and go back to Cook County. Don't do me. So, I don't I don't know. The ballroom scene works for some people. Some people do the ballroom scene well and they have jobs and they have lives outside of the ballroom scene, but some people get sucked into it very early on and they lose themselves in the process. I've known a lot of individuals who have become, Vogue divas and runway divas and stuff, but they live to walk balls. And I don't want that to become me. I have been asked by many houses to walk runway, many houses to walk face, but I don't want to do that. I'm in school. If I'm going to be on a runway, I want it to be in Milan or Paris. Not that I don't have any, let me say this again. I have nothing against the ballroom scene. I actually love to watch the kids Vogue. I like to go to balls very, very rarely though. I like to go to balls and watch what's going on and see what people are doing. It's a lot of fun. But as for me being involved in it, no thank you. For the most part, I have 3 houses. I have 3 holdout houses. If I'm invited to one of those 3 houses, I will join. I won't walk, but I will join. But I think the ballroom scene is to be enjoyed and not to be lived, because it is a fantasy, and a lot of people suffer from that delusion that this fantasy has become real or whatever. Now, there are some gay families that are very, very helpful. I think a lot of these young individuals who are doing the most and sleeping with everyone and dropping out of school or something, they really do need an older gay person, like a gay mother or a gay father, to show them the ropes so that they don't get caught up in some of the things that are out there or whatnot. So, I mean, if the ballroom scene is something that you would like to be involved in, by all means. But always remember that there is a life, and there needs to be a life outside of the ballroom scene. And just for the gay population in general, I'm I'm with you, Prince Mama. I don't understand why we just can't get along. We should be able to just, hang out, be friends or whatever. But because of all the foolishness and all the shade, I generally find myself not associating with gay boys or ballroom kids. I have been lucky to find um, several very good friends here in Chicago, and it's actually unusual that they are my friends because they're very much like me, and I generally don't get along with people who are like me. That being said, one of my friends is a mother of a very, very large and popular house here in Chicago. Very good friend. That's my sister. I love her to life. And there's no drama, no shade, no mess. And that's what I appreciate about that particular house or family unit. Um, I hope I've answered that question. If I didn't, by all means, send me an email and I'll try again. Um, but that will be it for this particular episode of the Lhuillier Show. I hope you liked the new intro. The new intro on this particular video will be the intro for season 2, which the date has not been set in stone yet, but it will likely start back up again in June. I just need some time to focus on personal things and get some business in order, etc., etc. But I do want to say before I go that I do love you guys very, very much. I appreciate all of the support, all of the emails on YouTube and Facebook, all the Twitter followers. I love you guys. I've been humbled by some of the feedback. So, follow me on Twitter, meanwhile. And until season 2, or until I can't just wait to share something with you guys again, I love you and smooches.
Hello? 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 That's right!